Welcome back, fellow fans of Clash of Clans. It is your host, Galadon, or hey, if it's your first time here, now's the time. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and get ready for the earliest and most accurate update information, along with strategy, entertainment, and today, a special guest on the channel. If you are a big fan of Clash of Clans or you've been playing for many years, you may have heard the name Jorge Yao. Nobody didn't know who this guy was. Back in 2013, when Clash of Clans was just taking off, he set the record, the first player to ever reach 4,000 trophies, and was immediately launched into stardom. All sorts of articles, even the New York Times covered this. It was all over the place. If you played Clash and you were an enthusiast, you knew Jorge Yao. So, without further delay, my interview with Jorge Yao starts right now. Jorge Yao, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thanks for having me.
It's exciting to have one of the first well-known Clashers. I mean, let's be honest, before Galadon, before Chief Pat, there was Jorge Yao, or of course, a lot of us refer to you as Jorge Yao, and you were the first player to ever reach 4,000 trophies.
Correct.
Big claim to fame, and of course, like I said, I mean, you know, I hadn't even started YouTube yet. It wasn't even a thought, and you're out there pushing trophies. When did you start playing Clash of Clans? When did you first pick it up?
Ooh, going back down memory lane, probably I would estimate around September or October of 2013.
Okay, so
I think that's the right year, right? 2000. Yes. That's
yes.
Right year.
Okay, so not a super early adopter then. I mean, well, 2012 was when it came out.
So just as a reference, I think around when I started, I think was it the One True King was the first one to hit 2,000 or 3,000 trophies? One or the other.
Oh my gosh,
I remember his name.
Okay, well the dates get blurry, and that's definitely way before I remember, because I just remember you pushing towards 4,000 back in those early days. And so it's kind of cool to look, because the game, that was before Clash of Clans really became super popular. Then, like about 2016, it hits #1. It's amazing. It's, you know, all over the world. It's this phenomenon. And then now here we are at 2019, and we find out that Clash of Clans again, somehow a 7-year-old game, has topped the charts, hit #1 again in the App Store, which is just crazy. So I thought it was a great time to bring you on and talk about how Clash has changed and how your life has changed. And, you know, first of all, I just wanted to talk about attacking back then. So you pushed to 4,000, and the game was a lot different back then. That was what, Town Hall 10?
Yes, around Town Hall 9, I think. During my reign, I guess it was like Town Hall 9 to Town Hall 10, I would say.
Okay. As I recall, attacking was a lot harder back then. I mean, today it's rare that you see a very high-level trophy player lose an attack, but back then it wasn't out of the question.
Right. It was quite hard, actually. Yeah, so I tend to play more risk adverse, so I kind of fell into a strategy. It worked well. It was slow grinding, but it minimized the amount of losses that would take. So.
And what attack strategy were you using back then?
So I was 100% dragons. That was my thing back then. Was 100% dragons. I think back then it was 4 spells, I believe, 3 or 4 slots, and I used to use all lightning spells. I would knock out one of the air defenses with my lightning spells, and then just fan my dragons and pretty much just go for the 1 star. I would never go more than 1 star.
Really?
Ever.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So you were just playing it safe because obviously, and as I recall back then, and a lot of people who modern day Clashers don't remember these days, but you would get like 1 or 2 trophy offers, and if you lost, you lose like 38 or 39 trophies.
Right.
So yeah, so I could see where you want to control that risk. That makes sense.
Exactly. And when I was climbing too, I felt that because, you know, I would experiment with different strategies. And obviously over time, you know, with the meta changes and balancing and updates, I would change my strategy. But for the most part, I would try to find a way to make all dragons work to get that guaranteed 1 star.
Okay, cool. So yeah, now that you mentioned it, I do remember seeing your dragon attacks. back in the day. Well, dragons still around, still strong. Of course, now we have electro dragons. And of course, we have baby dragons too. There's all sorts of dragons out on the battlefield. Okay, so another thing I wanted to cover is clouds. Now, of course, Clash as it stands today, it's one of the biggest complaints of Legend League players. Yet we've been promised a fix that should be coming by the end of next month. By the end of June 2019, we should see a fix to the clouds. But I'm curious what type of wait times you had between bases back then.
Back then, I would say on average at least an hour per base to find a base.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that clouds have been a problem for 6 years now in Clash of Clans.
It's always been a problem. I think that Supercell has made strides in making it better by introducing seasons in Legend League. It helps out with liquidity, with the reset of every season. You'll find more players. But clouds have always been a thing.
Interesting. I guess it makes sense though, and we won't make this whole thing about clouds and why it happens, but obviously because of the nature of you have to find another player to attack, and they don't want it to just be a battle of whoever can spend the most time on their account wins. Obviously, it's been tough to find a fix. I'm not making excuses. Obviously, I would have liked to have seen a fix years ago, but we'll see what happens. I mean, we're promised a complete revamp of the way the game works right now at Legend League, so I'm excited about that and looking forward to it. So back then, how many hours a day would you say you played?
So before I had an iPad, I actually bought one just for Clash of Clans. When I was playing on my mobile phone, I would say between 5 and 10 hours a day. That's including me just being on my phone during work, which I probably shouldn't have been doing. But and then once I broke 4,000 trophies, I tried to push further just to allow for some breathing room. So once I got to around 4,200 trophies, I was playing probably at most 5 hours a day at most, because I could afford to lose trophies, and not really take a huge hit. So. That's
right. Also, the fact that trophies didn't reset back then. There were no leagues. There were leagues, but there were no seasons. So if you passed 4,000, you just kept going.
Right, exactly. It was just a matter of time, right? So basically every session I go into it thinking, oh, okay, I need X amount of trophies to kind of negate the loss that I'll probably take on defense.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And so what was your biggest lead at any given point? Do you recall what the biggest gap that you had between you and second place was?
Well, let's see. Probably over 150 trophies, approximately.
Wow. So, and that's a lot of attacks at 1 to 4 trophies an attack on average, right?
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah, so a lot of work. But then you also played multiple accounts, as I recall, right?
Correct.
So how many accounts did you play at any given time? Or did you have multiple devices on the desk or the table sometimes?
Yeah, so started out with one iPad and ended up with, I think, 6 total. I guess at my peak, I was playing probably 5 accounts simultaneously.
Wow. Oh, and weren't you the first guy to ever post a shower pic with an iPad? I believe didn't you talk about having played Clash in the shower or at least been in the clouds in the shower? I remember seeing a picture like that years ago.
Yeah, so there is a common misconception or a misconception around that story. So I know it was kind of a meme thing where Jorge brings plastic bags and puts the iPads in and goes in the shower and plays in the shower. It was not quite like that hardcore. I did bring my iPads into the bathroom and just kind of laid it out on the floor while I showered, and then I would just peek out every minute or two just to see if I found a base or if I need to click retry to continue searching. But that's the extent of it.
Well, don't feel bad. I guarantee you that every player over 6,000 trophies, who's been over 6,000 trophies in their career, can relate to that story, including myself. I've definitely had those moments. In fact, I can remember a time or two where I'm in the shower and I hear the cha-ching clashing of swords, and I'm like panicked to dry my hands in time to get the attack done. Just hoping my wife doesn't walk in and wonder why the heck I'm sitting in the bathtub playing Clash of Clans. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
the drying of the hands is very important too.
well, yeah, I
Because,
mean, right?
yeah,
Otherwise, it's not going to work at all. So,
yeah, and you
but
make mistakes.
yeah. Oh gosh. So okay, so you played, you got the world record. You were the first player ever to 4,000 trophies, and obviously at some point you stopped playing Clash. What happened, and when was that?
So I think I got number one around February, I would say, and then about 6 or 7 months later of maintaining the number one spot, I just had an epiphany one day, and I was like, "This is it. Like, I can't really sustain this. It's not really healthy. It's opening up doors left and right already. I have nothing left to prove, so I kind of just laid it down, and wrote my retirement speech."
Well, I guess that makes sense. I mean, you did gain a lot of notoriety because the game became incredibly popular. Suddenly, there's tens of millions of people playing it every single day, and so did that change your career path at that point? Because I know that you're still in the industry, so I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so Clash of Clans has changed my life completely,
Hmm.
entirely, both career and just personal life. So first and foremost, Space Ape recruited me to London. So now I'm living in London. So I not only uprooted my life to a different country, different city, but also changed my career. I had a finance background and moved into the mobile gaming industry. So
That's amazing, and yeah, I know I've worked with you at Space Ape on some other games. I know you've got a game in the works right now. I've visited Space Ape, and then of course, a couple of years ago, Supercell bought Space Ape, which was an
right.
amazing coincidence. I just thought that was what an incredible. It's a small world, right?
Yes, it's like everything has come full circle for me, almost.
So you're back under the umbrella of Supercell, and
Yes.
well, before I get on to what you're working on now, I wanted to ask: have you played any Clash since then, or do you play it all now?
I think the last time I played was Town Hall 11. I was at ClashCon when I first met you.
That's right.
They
Yeah,
announced Town Hall 11, and when they announced Legend League and introduced Legend League, I wanted to kind of see if I still got it. So I decided to stream and push my account to at least Legend League, and then retire again after that. I was able to do so, and did my whole journey on Twitch and streamed the whole thing. But then after that, I haven't really touched it. So
okay. Yeah, because I remember you were streaming. I remember you had a YouTube channel for a while that you uploaded some of those videos on.
right,
But that all got pushed aside because of your work with Space Ape. Then I take it.
correct.
And so tell me, what can you tell me about what you're working on right now? Because I know you're working on a pretty exciting project.
Yeah, so I'm working on a game called Rumble League. It's a 5v5 multiplayer game, kind of like a top-down version. Most similar comparison would be Overwatch. It's synchronous. It's a lot of fun, different roles, not many buttons, so it's pretty accessible, and it's just a lot of fun. And it's been a lot of fun working on this game for the last year and a half.
And as I recall, because I've played it, I mean, I remember back being at Space Ape when this was just like a brand new fledgling idea. And wasn't this kind of your brainchild?
Yes, so I was on the prototype team when you probably first saw,
Yeah.
the first iteration of it, and that's when we were using, just the free Unity assets, no art, nothing. We didn't even have a visual design yet, just playing around with the gameplay and controls and things of that nature. So yeah, that was a core team of myself and three others. So
That's exciting. And now, so where is it now? Is it considered to be in a closed beta? Is that where we are?
so
Oh,
we're probably, I can't give you exact dates, obviously, but we're looking at soft launch likely sometime this summer.
oh, cool. Okay. All right. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to playing more of it and let people see it. And then just the whole story behind that. If I don't know, it's almost surreal when you think about it. You played Clash of Clans back in the day. You were the first like famous Clash of Clans player. You set records. Then you go off. You end up working for another game company. That company gets purchased by Supercell, and then now it's going to put out another game. That's just and it's cool because that game. I guess that's a good point. I've played it, and it seems like the closest thing would be to an Overwatch type game. So
right.
and although it's a lot of fun, I'm definitely looking forward to more of that game, more of Rumble League. So
yeah, we're all pretty excited for it. So glad you like it.
Yeah, very very much. And so now, as far as Clash of Clans, I guess I had some other questions I wanted to ask you about, the difference between Clash then and Clash now, but it sounds like you haven't really had an opportunity to get back into the game.
Well, I've opened the app a few times. So, for instance, one of the biggest changes that I've seen is you get an entire second base. So I'm like, what? I saw that update and decided to just, open up my account and see what that was all about. Didn't really play around with it too much, but I was like, whoa, you get a second base. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, the Builder Hall was a huge, it's been kind of a controversial release because a lot of purists don't have any interest in it. Yet at the same time, you do get small benefits to your main village by playing it. And we are looking at another update that'll bring Builder Hall level 9 sometime in the next month and a half or so as well, by the end of June 2019. So yeah, and then of course you missed out on Town Hall 12, man. I mean, Town Hall 11, that was kind of a tough time for Clash. A lot of players were upset with that update. That was when we lost things like Town Hall sniping. The whole leagues really changed dramatically back then, and a lot of players weren't happy with what happened to the game. The game got harder, I think, at that point. At least it got a little bit harder to farm. And then we've come full circle. Now Town Hall 12 comes out. We've got season passes and challenges and clan games and all these different ways. You'd be amazed at how much faster you can progress through the game as opposed to back then.
Oh, I mean, I'm not completely surprised by that because, a game with that kind of tenure, you do want to make it a little bit easier for, newcomers playing the game. So I'm not too surprised by that progression to make it a little bit, faster. I think that's a good thing.
Didn't it take like 45 minutes to train a spell back when you played?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think they made some changes while I was playing too. I think they decreased it by like 50% at one point. I forgot which point they did that, but I remember spells being either spells or hero reviving used to be really, really expensive. And
that too, yeah.
Yeah, and then they, I think Supercell, cut the time shorter.
Yeah, they definitely have. So, but man, well, it's great to take a walk down memory lane with you, George. I know that you're busy, and I'm not trying to pitch you on playing again, but there's always a spot in my clan for you if you decide to pick up the game again. And we're definitely looking forward to Rumble League when it comes out.
Awesome, thank you. And thanks for having me. And hey, you never know, I might pop in one day and say hi to your clanmates.
All right, I'll take you up on that anytime. So
that sounds good.
All right, thanks for spending some time with me, George, and take care. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So there you have it, a little walk down memory lane, the history of Clash of Clans and the first ever Clash celebrity. It's just amazing, like George said, how much this game has changed so many people's lives for the better. Not only brought people together, but created careers, launched careers, and I am, for one, super thankful. I'm thankful for you guys for hanging out, for listening, for being part of the Gala fam. I appreciate your time. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. As always, look forward to more interesting strategy, entertainment, update information on the channel. Thank you for sticking around all the way to the Blizzle Frist of the episode. Now get out there, make the best of the rest of your day, be kind to other people, animals, and the planet, and I hope to see every last one of you back here again tomorrow for more full attacks.
Galadon, he was the second Clash celebrity. Because Peter $17 was the first.